Okay, good morning everyone, and Chazak. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning as we are studying together Perashat Noach. Noach was the lone survivor. He enters the ark with him and his family, and only 8 people survive. And the Torah tells us the dimensions of the ark. The ark had 3 floors. 1 floor was for the people, 1 was for the animals, and 1 was for his mother-in-law. No, I'm kidding. And 1 floor was for all the garbage. Okay? And the Pasuk tells us that one of the things that the Teva have, Pasuk says, Sohar ta'aseh la Teva. Okay? What does that mean? Sohar, from the word, right? Zohar, lehazhir, to shine. Sohar means light. There was lighting on the ark. Okay? What was the lighting? What did they put for light? What do they use for light? Interestingly, the Midrash has what to say. I want to share with you, my friends, a Midrash that you heard before. I want to share it with you today with a beautiful, deeper insight that maybe you never heard before. And this is very, very beautiful. Says the Midrash, this is in Midrash Rabbah. Rabbi Yehunya, Rabbi Pinchas, Rabbi Hanir, Rabbi Hoshaya, Rabbi Abba bar Kahana, Rabbi Levi Mefarshin. So it says the Midrash that the following rabbis explain as follows. Rabbi Abba bar Kahana Amar Halon. You know what it means that there was a light? It means there was a window. It was a window to let the light from the outside in. That's what windows do. Okay, let the outside light in. That's Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Levi Amar Margalit, a pearl. So, says Rabbi Levi, it wasn't window, it wasn't light. From the outside, it was a pearl. It was a special stone that would glow in the dark, and that's where they got their light from. And the Midrash goes on. I'll just finish the Midrash for you because it's a beautiful Midrash. Rabbi Pinchas Mishum Rabbi Levi Amar Kol Yud Bet Chodesh, the entire 12 months, Noach was on the ark for 12 months. Shehaya Noach Bateva, all 12 months that he was on the ark, Lo Haya Tzarich, Lo Leora Hama Bayom, Velo Leora Levana Balayla. He didn't need the light in the day, he didn't need light at night. Ela Margalit Atalo Vahaya Tole Ota. So how do you know when it was light or day? So he would hang up this special glow-in-the-dark pearl. When the pearl was dim, he knew that it was daytime. When it would be brighter, he knew it was nighttime. Fascinating phenomenon, according to Rabbi Pinchas, in the name of Rabbi Levi, that if you go into a dark room, close all the doors, close all the lights, don't let any outside light in, go into a dark room and put on a candle. He's saying that during the day, somehow the candle knows that it's day. The candle will be not so bright. And in the nighttime, the candle will be brighter. Very interesting. I don't know. That's what he's saying over here. That even an artificial source of light, even if you're not in a right? If you're outside, the candle's not going to be as bright. But his hidush over here is that even if you go into a pitch dark room, during the day, the candle's also not going to be as bright. Okay, fine. That's what he's saying over here. But anyways, this mahalokin over here of the source of light. What exactly, they're arguing on? There's a famous idea that we said last year, that it's really dependent on the other mahaloket that we spoke about. Was Noach subjectively righteous or was he objectively righteous? Was he righteous according to all standards at all times? Or was he only righteous because you're comparing him to the worst people ever? But if you stand him next to me and you, he was a regular guy. If you put him next to Avraham, maybe he was a regular guy. For sure not me and you. Even for me and you, maybe he was a tzaddik. But you get the point. Was he very, very tzaddik, really? Or was he only a tzaddik relative? And this mahloket will now matter on what was the source of light for Noah. Because if he wasn't really righteous, then he would have no right to see the downfall of his generation. Technically, he's supposed to be out there with them. He's just as guilty. And it was just because he's relatively righteous, so he's saved. But not really because of any merit of his own. He's not, and if that's the case, it wouldn't be fair for him to look at their destruction. If you remember Lot, we're going to read about him in a couple of weeks. When he was spared from Sodom, he too was not really righteous. It's only because he is in the merit of Avraham that he was saved, the merit of his great-great-granddaughter Ruth that he was saved, and therefore Lot was not allowed to peek at the destruction. You know better than them. Don't look. So if you say Noach wasn't so righteous, that makes sense why he couldn't look. So there was no window, rather there was a pearl. But if you say that he was very righteous, then he was allowed to look, so there was a window. Now everyone agrees, by the way, there was a window. Everyone agrees there was a window. The Pasuk says he opened the window to let out the birds. The question is, was the window the source of light? Or not? So one opinion says yes, one opinion says no. So that's one idea, beautiful thought. Okay. But I want to share with you today something from Rav Aryeh Tzvi Frommer, Hashem Yimkom Damav, the Rosh Yeshiva of the famous Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin. I'm sure you heard of the yeshiva. And he says something very fascinating about these two approaches of whether the light was a window or the light was a pearl. And he introduces it with the famous idea brought down by many masters and thinkers in Jewish philosophy. The Gemara tells us in Masechet Chulin that when Yaakov was fighting the angel of Esav, that they wrestled all night. Remember? The Gemara has two opinions. Did the angel of Esav appear as an idol worshipper or as a Torah scholar? And what the Gemara is basically saying is that the Yetzer Hara has two strategies. He sometimes approaches us as a sinner, and sometimes he approaches us as a saint. Sometimes he comes with idol worship, obviously wrong, but sometimes the Yetzer Hara, he comes with a beard, comes as a rabbi, long peot, big black hat, very big tzaddik. Sometimes the Yetzer Hara will encourage a person to indulge in passions and cravings and temptations that are obviously wrong, idol worship, but he's appealing to our craving, to our animalistic side. But sometimes the Yetzer Hara comes in a much more deceptive way. He comes with righteousness. He comes with logic, convincing you that the wrong choice is actually the right thing to do. And that is a very, very dangerous form of evil. When evil's evil, and I know it's wrong, but I just can't help myself. It's hard. Human, he got to me. So that's sometimes how he comes. He creates this fire of passion. Maybe you've ever heard that phrase, the fire of passion, where we feel, wow, it's excitement to want to go. That is one Yetzer Hara. But sometimes the Yetzer Hara, he paints sin with very noble colors, where he makes a person think that his act is not only permitted, but maybe even a mitzvah. We got to always be on the lookout. The Yetzer Hara, this was how he came to Adam HaRishon, by the way. The first, right? Adam. He came to him, Adam, and he said, you ready? And this is really understanding the sin of Adam eating from the tree. How does he eat from the tree? How did he commit that first sin? If he didn't have a Yetzer Hara, what drove him to eat? The snake, which represents the evil inclination, it was outside of him. So if he didn't have an internal inclination for evil, then why did he listen? Why? What was pushing him to eat? And the way the rabbis explain it is that Adam actually ate because he thought that by eating, it's going to actually be greater. Listen to this. You see, Adam in the beginning, he realized how easy the test was to not pass, to not fail. The drive to do the wrong thing. God said don't eat, and Adam had zero temptation to eat. Just like you and me. Right now, do you have a temptation to bow down to a piece of wood? Zero temptation. Adam was not tempted. It's like the snake came. The snake came and told him from the outside, come and eat this fruit. And he had zero temptation. And that was the problem. Adam said, this is way too easy. I know God said not to eat. But, you ready? Adam said, if I eat, I think it'll be greater Kiddush Hashem. Because by eating now, the evil will be inside of me. I'll raise the stakes, raise the test. And now, when I pass, it'll be even greater glory for God. This is what we call an Avera Lishma. He did a sin Leshem Shamayim. And that's very dangerous. Where we convince ourselves that we're doing the wrong thing, but it's in this case, have an exception. We make exceptions. This case is different. Sometimes the Yetzer Hara will come and tell you why your case is different. Logically, it comes to you with logic that you have to do it, and it's not only allowed, it's a mitzvah. You're not allowed to speak gossip, but here you're allowed. Sometimes the Yetzer Hara will come like that. Sometimes he'll come and he'll tell you to speak gossip because it's just juicy goods, and people will laugh with you, and you'll be the guy who's carrying the important information about all the people. So that's why he comes sometimes, like, with the temptation of gossip. But sometimes he comes with a beard of gossip, and he tells you, listen, here it's mutar to talk gossip. It's very hard to defeat that Yetzer Hara. Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing and we're really doing the wrong thing. Yetzer Hara came to Avraham Avinu like this. He came to him when he tried to stop him to do the Akedah. He came to him as a rabbi. And he's arguing with Avraham logically. You're going to kill your son? Where's your rahmanut? Where's your compassion? What kind of Jew are you? What happened to life? What happened to Hashem loves kindness? He doesn't want killing. And Yetzer Hara like that, it's very hard to defeat. Because he's striking our value system. And he uses values that we know are true. But he takes them and tries to apply them to us at the wrong time. So, as an example, Rav Pam says sometimes a guy thinks, using the words of Ramchal over here, of course, sometimes a guy thinks he's a Hasid, and really he's a Choteh. You think you're doing a mitzvah, but really you're sinning. So he gives two examples. You're on your way home, your wife called you up, excited, she made a big dinner, and you think, okay, gonna go home. The wife, she put her whole day into this. And all of a sudden, at a shul on your way home from Minhan Arbit, you get a guy on the way out. He says, please, sir, can you take me to the airport? Oh, so now the Yetzer Hara comes. Wow, you have an opportunity of chesed here to do a big mitzvah. Now he's giving this example without cell phones. Maybe today you could call your wife, you could ask her what she thinks you should do. Could she wait for you for a half hour? But he says the guy, what does he do? He thinks he's doing a tzaddik. He takes the guy to the airport now. And his wife, they made an appointment for 7 p.m. to have dinner together in the house. And she's waiting 7:30, 8. But the Yetzer Hara says, you're doing a mitzvah, it's chesed. What do you mean? The guy thinks he's a Hasid, but really he's a Hoteh. And it's very hard to argue with that logic, because the Yetzer Hara comes, and you got to be very careful from those. You got to be very careful from people that are evil, dressing up in saintliness. And then sometimes the Yetzer Hara may be actual people sometimes. Got to be very careful, you got to beware. Sometimes people use religion as a way of tricking people. Those are the worst type of guys, by the way. Sometimes a guy comes to shul, prays, kavanah, extra kavanah, with extra kavanah on the side, so that he could show everyone in the shul that he's religious, so that when he comes to you afterwards for an investment, for a deal that he's going into, you think that he's such a tzaddik, but the guy's really doing it all as a charade to fool you so that he can take your money. Some people, they talk about Hashem and Emunah and God, and they do it in order to trick you into thinking that they're so righteous, to take your money, to get you into doing a deal with them. You gotta be very careful from those guys. Sometimes people will come using God, using religion. I mean, we're seeing a whole nation of people, unfortunately, terrorists, all in the name of Allah, all in the name of religion. And not only that, but look at their crookedness. They tell them that in their religion they're not allowed to rape, they're not allowed to kill. But they then tell themselves that over here they're not people, they're not humans, and that you're allowed to rape them, and that it's a mitzvah to rape them, and it is mitzvah. That's what they tell themselves. And only sometimes you could only go to such low levels of murder and everything when you have religion driving you. Sometimes you do the most horrific things in the name of religion. Our rabbis tell us that Penina was Leshem Shamayim. Remember Penina? Let me tell you about Penina. Penina was I don't know what it's called. Is it the co-wife? When two women are married to one man. This is, technically in the Torah's, Torah allows polygamy. So a man could have two wives, or three or four. Today we don't do it anymore. One mother-in-law is enough. But anyways, it says over there that Penina was the co-wife of Hana. They were both married to a man by the name of Elkanah. Okay? And the rabbis tell us that the Torah, the Navi says that Penina had children and Hana didn't. And every holiday, when they would be sitting all together, Penina would be there with her children, and she would hug them and kiss them with extra juice, as they say, in order to rub it into Chana. And she would say things like, "Hey Chana, how you doing? What'd you get the kids for the holiday? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you don't have kids. My bad, sorry." And she would rub it in. She would rub it in. Now our rabbis tell us that Penina l'shem shamayim hayta. Penina was for the sake of heaven. She did it so that Chana would pray better. She wanted to hurt her so that she could praise better. And the Kotzker Rebbe says, how did the rabbis know that? How did the rabbis know that she was l'shem shamayim? And he says a piercing answer. He says you could only be so cruel if you're driven by l'shem shamayim. The only way you could bring yourself to be so mean is if you could lie to yourself that what you're doing is actually righteous. Sometimes we say mean things to people, horrible things, but we have to justify it. We cover it with l'shem shamayim. We tell ourselves that it's for the greater good. She's got to hear it. She's got to get married. So I got to tell it to her how it is. And we throw away compassion and empathy and feelings down the drain. But it's okay because logic, Yetzer Hara over here, he's coming with a big beard. He's telling you why it's mitzvah to talk the way you're talking to this person. So as we get into a fight with our spouse, we get angry, we yell, we say things, and we cover it with righteousness. We excuse our behavior. And we say that it's okay because I'm doing it all for a greater good. My wife, she has to start growing. So I'm allowed to get angry at her. I'm allowed to be a disgusting person. Because I'm doing it for Hashem. Very hard to talk a guy who is doing for Hashem. Try to talk him out of it. Good luck. Good luck. Try talking to a guy like that. He thinks he's doing a mitzvah. Everyone's cleaning the Shabbat table, and this Sadiq decides, I don't have to help because I'm reading Tehillim. I don't have to help. I'm learning Torah. It's beneath my dignity to help. That's the Yetzer Hara coming with a big white beard. Another example Rav Pam brings. He says you're going to a wedding. So you need someone to babysit. So you call your parents, can you babysit the kids for a couple hours? No problem. So you drop them off at 8, a couple of hours. Somehow, a couple of hours turned into 12, 1 a.m. But you mesameach, hatan bekala, and you think you're doing a mitzvah. But your elderly parents that need to go to sleep, now your mom, Azita, she's up till 1 a.m. So you tell me, says Rav Pam, are you a tzaddik? Or are you a sinner? You think you're doing the right thing? You're doing the wrong thing! Wow. I mean, we gotta really... It's hard. It's like... And this Yetzer Hara, you should know, comes all the time. Yetzer Hara, he's very happy. He's very happy to win. He doesn't need to look evil to win. He's happy to look like a good guy. Call him whatever you want. Sometimes we're approached to do something for the community. And Yetzer Hara comes in again with a beard and he says, no, you're humble. You're anav. You don't want to be in the spotlight. Don't accept it. We're working on humility. Got to be anav. Let other people get the kavod. You don't want the kavod. You're going to go and have your name and everyone's going to now thank you. Don't give. Don't help. Be humble. He comes with humility, convincing you that you shouldn't do something. It's very hard to defeat that Yetzer Hara. You see someone doing the wrong thing. There's a mitzvah of rebuke. Yetzer Hara will come and tell you, no, you don't want to create machloket. Don't say anything. And the guy is preaching and saying all bad heresy. And the Yetzer Hara is telling you in your head, no, you don't want to say, you don't want to show. Asur, you want to be humble. Again, he comes with humility. Or how about a guy who stays late for work? And he justifies it by, it's for the greater good. I need more money, give my kids more. And the guy goes his whole life, the kids, they don't have a father. They barely get to see their father, the most important guy in their life. They don't see him but it's the Shem Shamayim, the dad. He's doing it because they need an extra, 10 million is not enough, an extra 100,000. Obviously, sometimes the situation is very extreme. The guy literally is working to put food on the table. I'm talking about that guy. Often we're not that guy. Most people are not that guy, Baruch Hashem. And so we have to really be honest when we are approaching decisions in life. Sometimes a lady needs me time. She needs a Shabbat off. She's been hosting for 6 Shabbats in a row. 3-day holiday, 3 times. Rosh Hashanah, Sukkot first half, Sukkot second half. She's had it up to here. She needs a break. She needs a well-deserved Shabbat off. And then the husband comes and he tells his wife on Thursday, a couple of guys asked me for a place to eat and we're going to have them over. Hachnasat orhim. With the extra nasally im. And this is it's a big mistake. The wife needs the week off. Or sometimes the lady herself doesn't know how to say no. And then she's run down. And then she ends up exploding on the family, on the kids. So we always have to be aware that there's 2 different ways the Yetzer Hara could come. Not only that, look at this. Remember the spies that Moshe sent to Israel? So there were 12 of them. And it says that Moshe prayed for one out of the 12. He prayed for Yehoshua. Why? Why did he pray for him? And listen to this. Most amazing explanation. 11 out of 12, Moshe knew they had a test. Moshe knew that they were likely going to want to stay outside of the desert. Stay outside of Israel in the desert. Why? Because they knew right now we're the leaders. And if we go in, we're not going to be the leaders anymore. So let's stay outside so we could hold on to our power. Moshe knew that that's a test. To test Yetzer Hara is coming over here, tempting you with passion, power, greed, whatever you want to call it. And that's a test. But that's the test of the Yetzer Hara coming with a pitchfork. He's very clear. He's coming, testing you to do the wrong thing, and it's called the wrong thing. It's called seeking honor. Okay? That's clearly wrong. We all know that's wrong. The Yetzer Hara, when he comes like that, he's coming as a devil. But there was one guy that the Yetzer Hara was not coming to him as a devil. There was one guy Yetzer Hara was coming to him as a rabbi. And that was Yehoshua ben Nun. Because Yehoshua ben Nun had a completely different agenda. His Yetzer Hara was very different. His Yetzer Hara was, yes, let's lie. Let's stay out here in the desert. But not because I want to be the leader. But au contraire, to the exact opposite. Yehoshua knew if they go into Israel, Moshe is going to be the leader. And Yehoshua, a real student, didn't want that. Yehoshua wanted that Moshe should stay alive. So now Yehoshua has a completely different calculation. He may lie so that they stay in the desert, so that Moshe stays alive. So you see, for Yehoshua, the test was a righteous test. For him, the Yetzer Hara was coming as a Torah scholar, humility. It's for the sake of your rabbi. So lie, Yehoshua. And that's a much harder test. Yehoshua's test was harder than the other 11. They were both tempted to lie, but for very different reasons. They were tempted to lie so that they hold on to their power. That's Yetzer Hara coming in the guise of evil. Yehoshua was tempted to lie for the sake of his rabbi. That's a much harder test. And so out of these two, Moshe prays actually for Yehoshua, because he knew how hard that test is. Penina was l'shem shamayim. When the Yetzer Hara could come into your head and tell you that what you're doing is right, and he gives you some garbage, clothes it with religion, very hard. Very hard. So we have to always check our actions. We have to have maybe a rabbi or a second opinion, someone that we can go to when we have these dilemmas, a mentor, a friend. Are my reasons accurate, or are they maybe tilted? Are they tainted? We have to remember that there's balance. There's got to be shalom and harmony and Torah and avodah and ma'asim tovim and mitzvot, and we got to always be on the lookout. That's why it says that Gehinnom, by the way, it's 12 months, 6 in fire and 6 in snow. You ever heard of that one? What does that mean? Gehinnom is 6 fire, 6 snow. Obviously it's very deep. But the Gemara is really saying is that there's two strategies for evil. Sometimes he comes with the light of wisdom, like we said. So fire of 12 months comes to atone for the fire of the light or the light that you thought you had, the logic that you display when you sin, the fire of the logic, of the wisdom, the light of wisdom. Snow represents the cooling of passion. So 6 months of snow corresponding to the other Yetzer Hara that comes with passion. That's why the Torah itself is compared to fire and water, because you need both to calm down the sin, depending on which sin you have. Sometimes a guy is tested with the attack of the evil inclination coming to deceive him. So he needs fire, which is the fire of the Torah, to show him true light, true understanding, not your faulty light. But sometimes the Yetzer Hara comes with the heat, the fire of passion. So you need the water of the Torah to cool you down. So Torah is fire and water because it's addressing both different types of urges that we receive. The urge of fire of passion, or the urge of the light of wisdom. That's why now we understand. Now we come back to Noah. The Zohar says that Noach's ark, the Aron, the Teva, was similar to the Aron, to Aron Habrit, to the Ark of the Covenant. And so, just like the Aron Habrit that has the tablets, that has the Torah, Noach's ark also was like the Torah in a way. Noach's ark was like a Aron. And so there's two sources of light. And each light is addressing another temptation of the generation of Noah. Window, what does window do? Window allows outside light in. Sometimes a guy thinks he's thinking straight. So you need the outside light of the Torah to come and penetrate, to show you where your logic is wrong. And so that's the light of the window. But sometimes a guy is driven when the evil inclination from within, the dark passion. And so to counter that, you need the pearl from within, the pearl of light to shine. The Torah, in that case, shows the person the purity, to raise him beyond and above his temptation from the inside. So these are the two sources, the pearl and the window, each one corresponding to another form of evil that sometimes the Yetzer Hara comes to us with. And sometimes just knowing that the two exist is very important. We gotta be very angry. Which machlokets do we hold on to? Sometimes the Yetzer Hara convinces you, no, this fight is a fight for Hashem, for the Torah. You can't let go of it. Gotta keep fighting with them. That's a very hard Yetzer Hara to defeat. And again, having a second opinion, understanding the Yetzer Hara in both of its forms, it comes in righteousness in disguise, comes with temptation. And hopefully Hashem will give us the strength, the ability, with the Torah that we learn, to overcome and make the proper choices. Okay, we'll stop over here. Everyone have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.